Hi, everybody. Welcome to This Day in History. We are talking about just that. What happened this day in history? I'm kind of looking ahead a little bit, kind of getting my ideas of what exactly happened. And so we're going to go right ahead to the events. By the way, it's the 40th day of the year, so happy 40th to 2018. There you go. Why not, right? Alright, so let's go right to 1555, the Bishop of Gloucester. Hopefully, I probably mispronounced that. Gloucester. John Hooper was burned at the stake, 1555. Gregory the 15th becomes Pope, the last Pope elected by acclamation in 1621. He only served for 2 years. He was actually 67 years old when he served. In 1775, the British Parliament declares Massachusetts in rebellion. In 1788, the Habsburg Empire joins the Russo-Turkish War in the Russian camp. 1825, and this would probably never happen this day, but it did back then in 1825. No candidate received a majority of electoral votes in the election of 1824. The United States House of Representatives elects John Quincy Adams as the President of the United States. I don't think that we could, as 50 states get into something like that. There weren't 50 then, so it was probably a little easier to have a tie. In 1849, the new Roman Republic is declared. In 1861, Jefferson Davis is elected provincial president of the Confederate States of America by the Confederate Convention in Montgomery, Alabama. Now, I did not hear anything about this, that there was a convention, so I'm going to do some reading. In 1870, Ulysses S. Grant signs a joint resolution of Congress to establish the Weather Bureau. In 1889, Grover Cleveland signs a bill elevating the Department of Agriculture to a cabinet-level agency. In 1895, William Morgan creates a game called Minuet. Soon it becomes referred to as volleyball. 1900, the Davis Cup is established. 1904, Russo-Japanese War, the Battle of Port Arthur concludes. 1907, the Mud March is the first large procession organized by the National Union of Women's Suffrage Societies. 1913, a group of meteors is visible along the eastern seaboard of North and South America, leading astronomers to conclude that the source has been a small, short-lived natural satellite of the Earth. In 1920, under the terms of the Svalbard Treaty, international diplomacy recognizes Norwegian sovereignty over the Arctic archipelago Svalbard, and it becomes demilitarized. In 1922, Brazil becomes a member of the Berne Convention Copyright Treaty. In 1941, the Cathedral of San Lorenzo in Genoa, Italy, is struck by a bomb which fails to detonate. 1942, year-round daylight savings time is reinstated in the United States as a wartime measure to conserve energy resources. So if you guys ever wonder why we have daylight savings time, it's all about saving energy. 1943, the Allied authorities declare Guadalcanal secure after Imperial Japan evacuates its remaining forces from the island, ending the Battle of Guadalcanal. 1945, a force of Allied aircraft unsuccessfully attacks a German destroyer in Norway. In 1950, the Second Red Scare Joseph McCarthy, who U.S. Senator at the time, accuses the Department of State of being filled with communists. That was pretty different. In 1951, the Shogang Massacre in the Korean War. 1964, the Beatles make their first appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show performing before a record-busting audience of 73 million viewers across the United States. 73 million viewers. People hoped for 23, but they got 73 that day. 1965, the Marine Corps sends an MIM-23 Hawk missile to South Vietnam, the first American troops in country without an official advisory or training mission. That was the Missile Battalion MIM-23. In 1971, Satchel Paige becomes the first player of the Negro League to be voted into USA's Baseball Hall of Fame. The Apollo Program 14 returns to Earth after the third manned moon landing, and we haven't landed on the moon in so many years, it's crazy. 1975, the Soyuz 17 Soviet aircraft returns to Earth. 1986, that's when Halley's Comet last appeared in the inner solar system. 1991, voters in Lithuania vote for independence. In 1996, the professional Irish Republican Army declares an end to its 18-month ceasefire and explodes a large bomb in London, killing 2 people. Copernicum is first discovered in 1996, and 2 passenger trains collided in a German town in Bad Liebing in the state of Bavaria. 12 people died, 85 injured. So there you go. That was a little bit of news of what happened this day in history. Now we go to some of the births. Honorius II, Pope of the Catholic Church. Louis Bishop was born this day in 1264. Of course, Honorius born 1060. George Hamilton, not the guy with the great tan, born in 1666. As we go further down the list, Hiram Smith, who was a Mormon religious leader, born this day in history, 1800. Anthony Hope, who was an English playwright and author, born this day in history. Heather Angel, also born this day in history, 1909. Carmen Miranda, born this day in history, 1909 as well. We will find the oldest person still with us here today, and it looks like we've got a winner here. It is John Cobb, who is a philosopher. John Cobb's birthday, 1925, so happy birthday to John Cobb. So as we go further down the list here, folks, Clive Swift, amazing actor. He played Richard Bouquet on Keeping Up Appearances, one of my favorite shows of all time. So happy birthday to Clive Swift. Carole King, also celebrating her birthday today. Joe Pesci. Joseph Stiglitz, his birthday. Mia Farrow, happy birthday to Mia. Jim Webb, happy birthday to Mr. Jim Webb. Alexis Smirnoff, happy birthday to Alexis. Judith Light, celebrating her birthday, or as you can also call her, Angela from Who's the Boss. So there you go. Terry McAuliffe, happy birthday to Terry. Celebrating his birthday today, the 72nd governor of Virginia, John Crook. Happy birthday to John as well. Peter Rosethorn, amazing actor. He played in the show Kath and Kim, an Australian treat to say the least. Travis Tritt's birthday today. It's Deborah Michelli's birthday today. Happy birthday to Medusa. That's her other name as she goes by, or also Lundra Blaze. But I like to do some Michelli. It is Glenn McGrath's birthday today. Charlie Day, happy birthday to Charlie Day. Tom Huddleston, happy birthday to Tom. Michael B. Jordan. And Svetlana Boginskaya, happy birthday to her as well. Gymnast, amazing gymnast. I won't forget that. Won't forget how artistic she was. She's from Belarus. And happy birthday to her. A few deaths I want to highlight. Bill Haley died this day in history. Ian Richardson died this day in history, 2007. Princess Margaret. Bill Haley, like I said, 1981 he passed away. There's always other folks here that passed away. John Hooper, of course, burned at the stake. Just crazy stuff going on there. By the way, it is Saint Maroon's Day. It's a national holiday in Lebanon. It's the earliest day in which People's Sunday can fall in Malta, and it's the earliest day that Clean Monday can fall in Eastern Christianity. So check it out. Thank you guys for checking out this date in history. Join us here on thescottshow.com. We talk about a variety of different things. We are live every single morning with the Wake Up Call, This Day in History, and we have other shows, wrestling, politics, pop culture, and all the really fun stuff. If you guys ever think that you might have some ideas for us, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud. We are all over the place. Thank you guys so very much. We'll catch you here real soon on thescottshow.com.